Hello guys, and thank you for subscribing to Paint with Mark. In this video it's a free lesson and I just want to show how easy it is to paint. Whether you've never actually painted before or held the brushes in your hand, this is a really good tutorial for you to really start on the journey of painting. So the materials we're going to use today are a 2-inch landscape brush, a 1-inch landscape brush, a liner brush or rigger brush, a palette knife and a fan brush. I've also got some kitchen paper, some toweling, and I've got a little pot of odourless thinners in a pot here which I can clean the brushes with. I also like to have some baby wet wipe tissues just to wipe my hands and the brushes. And the materials we've been using, I've got Bob Ross liquid white, okay, which we're going to apply to our canvas in a moment. And the colours that we're going to be using today are black, Van Dyke brown, sap green, cadmium yellow, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson and titanium white. Okay, you can do it on a paper palette, obviously if you haven't got a plastic palette like this. So they're the colours we're using today, and as I said, we've got the Bob Ross liquid white. Now this is a 16 by 20 pre-stretched double primed canvas. Hold it pretty securely because we're going to do quite a lot of tapping and that. But again, we're going to just do a nice simple mountain scene with a little bit of water in there, which, as I said, anyone can do this, guys. Just have the confidence in yourself to have a go at it, and this will start you on the journey. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our Bob Ross liquid white, and always give this a stir if you left it standing for any time, because it will have a little bit of a refined linseed oil sitting on the top. So I'll give that a little stir, and I'm just going to use a clean, dry 1-inch landscape brush, and I'm just going to dip it in there. Now obviously this is difficult to see because it's a white canvas and this is white, but I like to just dab a few spots all over the canvas. So I'm just dabbing it like little dots here and there. That's what I like to do to start with, just to get it on the canvas. Now all I want to do is just get this into the grain. So once you've got the colour on there, I like to do crisscross strokes, which is one way and then the other way. So I'm doing crisscross strokes in a row, then I go below it and backwards and forwards. So I hope that makes sense. I appreciate you can't see this on the video, guys, but bear with me. Sometimes it's easier if you want to make this show more. If you get a canvas like this and you get some light grey acrylic paint, and you could paint the whole lot with light grey acrylic paint, let that dry and then proceed with this, and then you'll see that where you're going with the white. But again, you'll know when you've got enough covered, because when you look down the side you'll see it's all shiny. If it's not shiny, you just go back in with crisscross strokes until it is all shiny, and you know you've got enough on there, guys. Alright, so I'm just going to keep applying this. Again, we only want a thin, even coat of this. That's all I'm looking for, just a nice, thin, even coat. Oh, I'll liquid white. It's picked up a bit of colour from my easel there, but not to worry, we can get around that. We don't have accidents, we just have happy accidents. So, just backwards and forwards. This colour will be covered up, so I ain't got to worry about that. So I'm backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And once I've gone backwards and forwards doing my crisscross strokes, I'll go from left to right. I'm pushing quite hard, and then I'm going to come up and down to the whole canvas, flicking up and down. So as I said, all I'm trying to do is force this into the grain. Really want to force it. Then I look down the side, and there's a couple of spots that need just a bit more. Yeah, a little bit there. And then we're done. Nice. nice even thin coat of liquid white. And then what I do is sometimes I'll get a little bit of tissue and very lightly I'll just rub this over the whole surface, just to remove any excess. You got a little bit there, and then what I do, get another bit of tissue and I'll just squeeze that in my brush, just twist it round. I'm not trying to move it all, but just going to remove a lot of this. Alright, so I'm trying to do things nice and simple for you so you can follow along really easy. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to put some sky in there. Now we've got this 1-inch brush and it's got a little bit of white, which is fine because this is going to lighten this down just a little bit, which is okay. So we're going to come into the phthalo blue. So we're going to just pull a little bit down, and the line that we've pulled down, we're just going to tap one side, turn the brush round, tap the other side. Now you really do not need much paint. Blue is very powerful. So just keep tapping and tapping and tapping. It's easier to add more paint and make it darker than take it away. Okay, so we'll give it a tap. And then what we're going to do, we're going to start in the corners. So we start in the corners because that's where we want the dark, and then we work downwards. And we do a crisscross stroke. So I'm going to come across like this. Then I'm literally going to turn my hand over and go over it. Now a lot of my students, what they tend to do is they do this, but it's easier if you go one way and then the other way. So one way and the other way. So we're doing crisscross strokes, backwards and forwards, crisscross strokes. Okay, and then we come underneath this row. Again, you don't need a lot of pressure. Come down. Now, as you can see, hopefully, I'm just doing crisscross strokes. Now what's happening is the blue is mixing in with the white that's behind it. Okay, so as I'm progressively getting lower, it's getting lighter because obviously I've got less paint on here, which I'm looking for. That's what we're looking at. As it comes to the horizon line, it's going to get lighter. So crisscross strokes, just below halfway, very light pressure, and then I'll stop. Okay, I'm just going to make these a little bit darker in the corners. So I'm just going to come back to the same colour, pull down a little bit more, give it a tap, another little tap. As I said, we can always add more and go over it as we are. So crisscross stroke there and a crisscross stroke there, and then I'll meet in the middle somewhere. Crisscross strokes below it. Look at that. See, so we're adding a little bit more dark, coming down a little bit more, and that should do it. I'm happy with that. Lovely. So I've got a nice dark progressing down to nothing, which is what I'm looking for. Okay, now while we've got this colour, we're going to add some water in there. So fantastic. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put that 1-inch brush down, and we're going to get our 2-inch brush, and we're just going to go over this very lightly. Okay, and then we're going to use this to add the water. So I'm going to start the same place. Now don't push too hard this time, very lightly, backwards and forwards, softer strokes. I'm going over the whole lot, but softer, much softer. I'm coming all the way down, all the way down, very soft, light pressure. Then when I get to this, I want to remove these lines, so I'm just going to keep going over it very lightly. You'll find that these lines will go. I don't want them on there. I'll just keep pushing this down until those lines have gone. And then I go across the whole lot like that. Nice. Just to get rid of those little lines. Okay, so it's progressively got down. Now when I've got my 2-inch brush, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into this same colour, the blue. So I'm going to put a little bit of this blue down, very carefully, so I get a little line like that. Give it a tap, turn the brush over, and another tap. Now, what we're going to do, with the 2-inch brush, we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to flick from the side, and going to pull it all the way across to the other side. So bend the bristles, like so, and just come all the way along to the other side. and then we get to the other side, we pull backwards on itself and come all the way back. Once we've done that, we're going to go backwards and forwards over there a couple more times, softening that down. Okay, then once we've done that, we're going to come up higher without any more paint, and we're going to come across like so, backwards and forwards, and then we're going to come up a bit higher like so. So basically what's happened by doing this, leave a little gap of white. So what's happened is we've gone dark up to light, dark down to light. So back here, so if you want to add a little bit more colour, we can come back into this same blue, give it a tap one way or the other way, and we can hold, this time we can hold the brush sideways, and we can just put a bit more blue in there, take it backwards and forwards. But again, start at the bottom and work up, and then it becomes progressively lighter as we get to here. It's lovely. And then I've got backwards and forwards over the whole lot. So we've got a nice bit of water in there. I like that. Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah. Happy? Hopefully, guys. So simple to do what we've done so far. I haven't done anything complicated, and that's what I'm looking for. Nice simple picture for you guys. So we're going to put our brush down. Now at this point we're going to get our 1-inch brush, and then we're going to give it a wash in our odourless thinners. So in our pot I've got a metal gauze in there, wash it around, push it up beside the bucket and beat the devil out of it. Now obviously I haven't got a beater bucket here in front of me because this is for demonstrations. I have got a beater bucket but not here. So what I tend to do is I will get an old bit of tissue or toweling and give it a squeeze and a wiggle around. Then you must make sure, it's really important that you get all the odourless thinners out of this, okay, because we don't want odourless thinners in there, and because it can, obviously it's called thinner because it thins paint and it can cause problems. Okay, so remove all that excess out there. Lovely. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to add a simple cloud in the sky. So I'm just going to get this brush, make sure it's clean, okay, and I've got my Bob Ross liquid white. I'm just going to dip it into that Bob Ross liquid white, so you can see that I've got some on there, and then I'm going to come into my titanium white. I'm going to pull this down like a line that we did before, and I'm literally just going to tap the corner of the brush, literally. So I'm pulling liquid white and titanium white together, and where you can see it's like a stipply finish, that means it's going to be a stipply finish up on here. So the stipply bit we're going to have at the top, and literally I'm going to tap on the surface. Now you only want to tap 2 seconds, so you go tap tap and then move the brush, tap tap, move the brush, and move it up and down, not all in one straight line. So I'm going to start from here, tap tap tap, tap tap tap, and so on. Can you see that, guys? Hopefully you can see that. I'm just going to pull it across here, and literally I'm just tapping a couple of times, just literally tap 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 tap. Okay, so give it a tap. I'm just changing the shape a little bit, literally just moving it around up here, coming down there and soft off the canvas. Okay, the more I tap, obviously it's going to pick up some blue. I want to move that, so I'm just going to get some kitchen paper. I'm just going to squeeze that, just remove a little bit of the blue that we picked up. And if you want it slightly darker to make it stand out more, we're just going to go back into the same colour, pull it in the white, pull it down, give it a tap. Nice stipply finish. Just using mainly the corner, the tip of the brush. I'm going to come back up here, at the top, and I'll go back over some of these bits, just to make a bit brighter, stand out. Let's take this right off the canvas, up here, like so on. Okay, that's good. I like that. Now, at that stage, I'm just going to wipe the brush again. Give it a good squeeze, and then again I will go into a little bit of toweling, tissue paper, to move that, because I don't want to get any thinners on this, guys, now at this stage. Just going to keep wiggling this around to most of that's off of there. Now what we're going to do, we're going to come up, try and leave in the top half, and we're going to do little circles, very, very light. I can't emphasise how light this is, hardly touching the canvas. And just on the bottom part, we're just going to do little tiny circles, just the top of the brush is just touching this, hardly at all. It's just softening out parts here and there, swirling it around, soft, soft. Look at that, just soft parts of this. Lovely, look at that. I like that. It's just the bottom half, we're just softly taking out the bottom part, little swirls. Then I wipe my brush again. Okay, and what I do is hold the brush like this, so it's very soft and light. Okay, and just very lightly just swing it up and just take a bit of the tops out, and then hold the brush near enough flat to the surface. Now very lightly, just here and there, just pull it across. So soft, otherwise we'll just smear it all everywhere. Okay, so just here and there, just pull it across like so. You can move it up this way, down this way. I like that. Very soft. Okay, and there, guys, that is how you create a very effective soft swirly cloud just by literally just tapping with a 1-inch brush. Okay, if you don't like something, you can just tap back over it again. So easy. So that's how cloud's done. What we're going to do now is we're going to add a mountain. I know a lot of people struggle with mountains, but this is going to be a nice easy mountain for us to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to get some alizarin crimson, put it there, some phthalo blue, the same amount, equal parts, put it on there, some black, the same amount, black, and put it on there, and mix this all together. It's a nice dark, bit more blue, nice darky mix colour there. So pick it up, squash it down flat, pick it up, squash it down flat. Really bend the knife as you're doing this. You need to do this a few times, really bend the knife. Okay, then I'll wipe the knife, move all the paint from my knife. There we go. Okay, now to get a nice roll on the knife, you can either come down with the knife and you push it inwards and you'll get a roll on the knife, or you come straight down and you pull it towards you. Okay, so straight down, towards you, and you get a roll on the knife one side. Now with that, the shape of the knife, okay, you can see it's got a point on it, so we're going to put a point in there. So we're going to come up into our clouds like so. So we want it back there, you'll have them coming down there. So slightly off centre, I'll start like so, and I'm just bending the knife, I'll pull it down, go up and down, and as I've pushed the paint on there, I will scrape off the paint, just leaving the top half. All I'm interested in is just leaving this nice top part of the mountain. Go back into my material again, pull another line of colour out. Just do it here, big point. Look at that. The different shapes. Don't do all like three, don't do 1, 2, 3 points the same shape. Otherwise what happens is it looks like pyramids, and we don't want pyramids, okay? So we want different shapes, different points. I'll just take that off the edge there. You can change the shape of these things. We'll put little bits sticking out here and there. A bit higher, that one, look at that. So all different shapes is what we're looking for, guys. All right, we don't all the same shape. Pull this down here, there's another bit, and take that out there. That'd be nice. Okay, concentrating on this nice edge. I'll come back in with a point and just to define these bits here, like so. and then again I'm just scraping away the excess paint. Okay, scrape it downwards. So all the excess paint off there, you can see that. And then I wipe my knife again and clean that up. So my knife is nice and clean. So I'll come back with my 2-inch brush and I'll just clean that into a little bit of tissue just to remove the excess blue. It's very light blue, but just wiggle it around and squeeze. I'm not removing all that was left there, but you can see it's pretty clean. Now I'm going to come up to this mountain shape. I'm going to bend the bristles, but I'm not going to come up to the top line. I'm just going to pull it slightly down. So I'm going to come up like this, just touch and pull it away. Okay, touch, and I'm just literally going to touch, pull this down, pull this across, pull this down, pull this across. But I'm not touching the top edge, guys, alright? I do not want to touch the top edge. I'm just pulling it down one way and the other way, keeping this lovely edge free, right? You don't want to take that out. So I'm just going to pull down one way and the other way, like so. Then I'm going to wipe my brush again, give it a wipe, and a bit of tissue or toweling. I'm going to come back up here and hold this sideways, and I'm just going to do some very light crisscross strokes. Very light crisscross strokes. Like so. Light crisscross strokes. And what this is doing is this is creating a misty effect at the bottom here, which is what we're looking for, guys. Okay, so I'm not doing hardly any work, I'm just doing literally crisscross strokes, and then I'll wipe my brush again just to remove the excess paint, and I'll come back up. We just sort of got rid of most of this. So I'm taking it down into this light area that we created, and that's the idea of it. So it's automatically creating this lovely misty effect. So I'm backwards and forwards, just trying to remove any harsh lines that are in there. So hopefully you got to this stage, guys. Now, usually a lot of my tutorials, what we do, we'd highlight, but you don't always get mountains got snow on it. And for this tutorial, we want to keep it nice and simple but effective. Obviously, I've got other tutorials on my website, papewithmark.co.uk, where I've got paid tutorials which you can go to, which are much more advanced, and I've got other tutorials that are free on my YouTube channel, which is Paint with Mark. You can find some free tutorials on there. Okay, so once we got to this stage, we're going to add some nice easy trees using a fan brush. So we're just going to mix up some more colour. So we're going to use this dark colour that we've had, that we used to do the mountain, but this time we're going to add 2 lots of green. So that piece, put that in there, and another bit, put that in there. So obviously this is going to make this more greeny colour. So what we're looking for, sort of more sort of foliage colour, so it stands out against this colour a bit more. And I might just add just a small amount of white, and I mean, when I say small amount, I mean just a tiny amount. So all I'm going to do is just take a tiny bit of white from there and just add that into it, just the smallest amount. Okay, you can actually see the colour slightly better. That's the reason why I'm doing that, so it stands out a bit more and you can see it. And then I'll bend the knife, clean the knife, a bit of tissue again, like so. As you can see, I've got paint on my hands, so I'm just going to get a baby wet wipe. A little baby wet wipe, and just clean my hands as I go. I like to clean my hands as I go along, because what happens is, if you don't do that, you're going to get paint all on your brush handles, and it literally goes everywhere, guys. So that's that done. Now we've mixed that up, we're going to go into that colour with a fan brush. So I've got a fan brush. It could be a number 3, number 6, it doesn't matter. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to literally tap down. Just tap, let the bristles open up. Literally just tap down into that colour. Hopefully you can see that, guys. The bristles have opened right up. So just tap down. I'm going to come up to here. Now we're going to come into this nice sort of misty area, and they're going to come down to just sort of below the white area there. I'll start in the middle here. It doesn't matter where you start, but I'll start here, and I'm just going to raise the handle up just a little bit higher than the bristles, just a touch. So I'm sort of basically coming down, tapping, but just sort of slightly coming down. So like so. Hopefully you can set slightly green on there. Now, what you don't want to do, guys, is do this. You don't want to do this, leave a gap, do this, okay, because that doesn't look natural and real. I'll just load that up again. We're going to do different heights, but we're going to fill in next to each other. Hopefully that makes sense. So can you see that? All these are slightly different heights, but basically here we're just filling all this in next to each other. Good. So I'm going to load up again. When you run out of paint, you can just pull it one way, pull it the other way, and then give it a tap. Make sure you give it a smash and a tap in there, because that opens up the bristles. It just makes it so easy for you. So as you can see, I'm just going to tap, come a bit higher, a little bit lower, each one, but I'm keeping this middle part all together. So different heights. When you run out of paint, you turn the brush around the other way, and you just continue. Now I'm just going to go all the way across the canvas. Okay, where I leave gaps, I'll just go back over it, give it a tap, like so. Different heights, and it just looks like a range of trees that are out here. Really easy to do, really effective way of creating these like evergreen trees. Look at that, so easy, guys. Load up. Hope you're following along, and I hope you're finding this really easy to do. I really appreciate the feedback. If you're in and around the Kent area, Whitstable, I'm holding classes at the moment. I run one-day workshops, one-day classes. If not, as I said, I've got a couple of pages now of online video tutorials, which is exactly the same as this, guys. Very slowly, step by step, showing you how to do each element, so you can increase your technique and carry on improving your painting skills by following some of my videos. So if you are interested, again, they are at paintwithmark.co.uk. You will find those. Nice. So once we've filled all this in, a whole lot, put my brush down. I'll get my knife into my colour, and I'll just go backwards and forwards like that. And what happens is you just get a little tiny bit of paint on the edge, very edge of it. And what we'll do now and again, I'll just start from the middle and I'll go up and create just a few lines up and down. And what that does, it just creates the illusion there's a lot more of these evergreens and they're different heights in the background. Okay, because these are distance, but it just makes your eye look, there's different height ones and there's depth in there, so that's what we're looking for. Cool. Okay, now we're going to pick up our 2-inch brush, just to make sure, always just give it a little wiggle in the towel or kitchen paper. Now what we're going to do, we're going to come roughly halfway up into the green, then we're going to bend the bristles and pull down and sort of flip down. So I'm literally going to, like so, come up halfway, I'm bending the bristles and pull down. Bend the bristles, pull down. Bend the bristles, pull down. Bend, pull down. Bend, pull down. Okay, so bend, pull down. Bend, pull down. And try, and when you pull it down, you need to pull it straight down. Okay, don't pull it off to the side. So you bend, straight down. Bend, straight down. Bend, straight down. Bend, straight down. again, when I've done this, I've done it all uneven. Some will pull down lower, like here, some will pull down shorter, which is going to create more illusion. Then you're going to clean your brush, again with a bit of tissue, really give it a good squeeze, just remove most of it. Again, you're not going to remove it all, we don't need to remove it all, but I'm just going to give it a few little scrunches in this bit of tissue paper or a bit of toweling paper, just to remove a lot of this so it's sort of dry clean. And now what we're going to do, we're going to brush sideways. Now when you brush sideways, the handle's nearly touching the canvas, and don't hold it out like this and brush across, because you'll ruin what you've just done. So very, very light, and I mean hardly touching. You're just going to brush this across this part that you've pulled down. Okay, now very light pressure. Okay, very, very light pressure, and it will create the illusion of reflecting in the water. That's what we're looking for, just soft. You can go it a couple of times, but don't go too much because you'll ruin the effect. And now you can see like we've got this reflection of this above it. Brilliant. I'm looking forward to putting the waterline in now. So I'm going to get some Bob Ross liquid white on my knife. I'm just going to get some of that. I'm going to put that on my palette. Okay, so I've got some of this on my palette. I'm going to come into titanium white. I'm going to pull some of that and mix that in with some of this liquid white. So it's a little bit thinner than this, but not too thin. So I'm going to swash this down. I'm going to clean the knife, give it a clean. Okay, so it's nice and clean, and I'm just going to push that towards me like so, like that. Just push that, get a little band, small band of paint. Now when we put our water lines in, it's important that this, you see this line is flat. We try and hold it like this, as if you're cutting into the canvas, and you're just going to keep going backwards and forwards, pushing. Now what I tend to do is start about there, and then as I come across I'll push it a bit closer, and it will take the rest of it off. Now start very softly again. I wouldn't start from the end and come across. I'll start perhaps in the middle, just touch it here, and this is between where the reflection is and above it. So I'll just touch there, and I'll come backwards and forwards like so, and then I'll stop. And if this is too much here, I'll come back into this and just wiggle this around, just create some reflection. I'm just sort of going backwards and forwards, which is creating these like splashes on top of the water. Now I'll wipe my knife, I'll come back into a bit more on there, then I'll come up here, backwards and forwards, I'll go back in. So I like to do it in a couple of different times, a couple of little spaces, like so. Look at that. But try and keep it relatively flat, alright? It's going to look much more realistic. I'll come back up here, let's create a little bit there, and another bit in there. Again, then you can go backwards and forwards and wiggle this around, and this will create, it looks like splashes on top of the water. You see this, like splashes all on top of the water. It's lovely. That's what we want. Could be a lot of fish in there, splashing up around there. So this creates on top of this the illusion. All right, I like that. Just do a little bit there. Look at that coming out. That's nice. Yeah, lovely. Okay, a little bit over there, just to break that line up. And we're just literally just rocking this backwards and forwards. Just do a little one there, a little line there like that. I'm literally just doing a few little lines just coming across. Okay, so that's your reflections, guys. So you can see reflection in there, and this is water lines over the top. So let's create a little bit of land. So I think we'll use a 2-inch brush. So we'll use this 2-inch brush. Now all I'm going to do, I'm going to get my knife. Let's create some more dark colour. So I'm going to use this greeny colour we use for this. So I'm going to scrape all this lot up, and then I'm going to get some blue, some red, some black, some Van Dyke brown, and a bit of green. So we've got all those colours in there. So we've got a nice lot of colour. I'm going to mix this round, push it down, squeeze it up, scrape it up, and then bend this down like so. Really sort of push this down. I'll give that knife a clean. And I'm going to come into my 2-inch brush, and I'm just going to pull one side, turn it over the other side, and just literally give it a tap. Just keep tapping. And then I'm going to come across this side, probably up 2 or 3 inches, and literally I'm just going to tap. And don't do it all one line. I'll come up and come down and across. Down to, I probably bounce about there. So literally I'm just tapping this, and this is creating foliage shapes just by literally just tapping this 2-inch brush. Okay, so I'm just going to fill this area in with this dark colour. Like so. So we're going down there, that's nice. Yeah, a little bit higher here and there perhaps. Like there. So again, I'm just tapping, and this is on this little part of the 2-inch brush there, you've got a little stipply effect. Okay, now I'm going to come back into this, pull this down, and give this a tap a bit more down here. So what that is where I'm going back over it, you'll see that this is creating slightly darker. So we've got light, bit light, a little darker. So it looks like levels, okay, and planes. And you know what? I'm going to do a little bit over the other side as well. So let's come across here, like so. Just tap that, like so. We'll join this up, why not? Back in there, and again at the edges I just use the little edges to create sort of foliage effects. Good. Right, now I'm going to come back into the colour and go back over here and there, trying to get this a little bit darker in a couple of spots, like so. Hopefully it's picking it up on the video. So we've got some light and some dark. That's good. Like that. Lovely. Okay. Knife, let's give that a clean. So I've now got some foliage down the bottom, so we're going to add some colour on there and create some nice little sort of foliagey effects and a little bit of colour in there. It's really taking shape and it's really coming together really easy, guys. Alright, so we've got this 1-inch brush, it's got a little bit of blue on there, and again I just get a little bit of tissue. Same usual, guys. Mix it. I don't tend to use a lot of thinners, alright? I try and stay away from the thinners as much as possible. Okay, now on here we've got some liquid white and some little bit of white mixed with it. I'm going to pull my 1-inch brush one way, turn it over, pull it the other way, and just keep pulling it towards you like this. Like that. Then I'm going to come into some yellow, cage yellow. I'm going to pull that down into that as well. Then I'm going to come into a bit of the green, sap green, and keep pulling that down. Keep pulling that down, and then tap. Okay, tap. So I went into the liquid white, cage yellow, and the green, and keep pulling a lot of green down, and give it a tap. So there's a stipply effect there, which means there's going to be stipply effects up there. We don't want it too bright to start with. So all I'm going to do now is just softly just touch around these bits here, the bits I've got sticking out. So just very lightly touch here, just follow the shape like so, like this. I'll load my brush again, just tap into the same colour, and we'll do the same over here. Just touch, follow the shape like so, get round there. Now I'm going to come into this colour that we've been using, then come into some more yellow and start pulling down more of the yellow and give that a tap. So it's a nice stipple effect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come below the colour that I've done but don't kill off all the dark. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in here, very softly, I'm sort of doing roundy sort of ball shapes. Okay, you see that? But I'm leaving lots of dark in between, guys. Alright, it's important that you leave a lot of dark in between. So I'm going back into this, I'm pulling more of this sort of yellowy colour out and tap, because I want this slightly lighter than the green above it. So I'm going to come in there with the roundy bit at the top, so on there, down there, just a subtle change of colour. There we are, nice. And you can see the way I've kept these darks in between. So what we're going to do is get a knife, and with the point of the knife we're going to scratch down into the dark. So I'm going to go just a couple of scratches down in the dark area, and this creates the effect of little twigs and everything from these bushes here and there. 1, 2, 3, like so. I'm not doing it everywhere, just here and there, but it just adds to the effect, and we haven't done a lot, but it makes it look much more realistic. Okay, now obviously I think our painting is not going to be finished until we stick a tree in there, is it, guys? Okay, so we're going to get our fan brush and we're going to come into some Van Dyke brown and black. I'm going to pull them back together. So Van Dyke brown and black. I haven't cleaned this off. This has got that green colour, so I'm just pushing this all in the bristles, this colour. Okay, and all we're going to do, we're going to think about where we're going to put our tree. So I think we'll have a tree coming over here somewhere. So very light pressure at the top. Don't do like a straight tree. Bend it slightly, but don't push too hard at the top. So I'm going to come from here. So I'm going to touch. I'm going to put it down. We sort of bend it a little bit, and as I come down, I'm going to push harder. Okay, so it's slightly harder. I'm going to put a tree into there. Now you can go back over this again, guys. So I'm going to go back into my colour. I'm just going to go back over it again. If you want it fatter, you push harder. All right, but a bit thinner at the top there, guys. Just make sure it's thinner at the top, and it gradually gets fatter as it comes down. All right, so I'm just fattening her up like so. Nice, easy done. Now when I've done that, I'm going to get my 1-inch brush, and at the base here I'm just going to very lightly, I'm just going to tap some of this very lightly just there, so it just sits that back. Alright, now if you need to add a little bit more colour on it, okay, add a bit of colour and just push a little bit of colour at the base of it, so it looks like it's sitting inside these bushes. Okay, so I think we're going to get the liner brush out now. So liner rigger brush, and what we're going to do is we're going to use our odorless thinners. So we've got our odorless thinners, and we're going to add sort of 5 drops of this into that same colour, which is the brown and the black together. So I'm just loading this on my palette, guys, I will show you. So about 5 or 6 drops, so it's like ink consistency, nice and runny. This is probably going to run all down my palette when I show you, but you can see, hopefully you can see there, it's running down, it's very wet, and I'm spinning this around. So I'm going to spin this round, hopefully you can see that, spin that round, so it's like ink consistency, but it's got lots of colour on there. Okay, so we're going to add some arms onto this tree. Now I tend to hold the brush out. Now just make sure they're thicker when they touch the tree and when they come out. So I'm going to do one here, so I'm literally going to touch, come up, and this is where, if you've got wiggly hands, you've got an advantage. And as you come up, you apply less pressure and you pull it off. Okay, so, and where it bends, I'm going to do another one off. Now when you finish, try and do Y's or little U's at the ends. Don't finish with just a straight line. So each time I do like a branch, I'll go back into my colour, I'm going to continue this up a little bit more, like so. Let's have another on this side, another bit this side. I'm not going to put too many in there because I want to keep this simple for you guys. So I think that's enough, that's simple enough. If you want a bit darker, just go back in and just go back over what you've just done. Again, finish off the ends with the Y's or the U's, like so. Lovely. So one there. A little bit sticking out. Cool. Okay. I'm not going to put any foliage on this, guys, because again, I want to keep this nice and simple and easy for you to do. So with that said, I think we've got a finished picture, guys. Lovely simple elements in it, nice looking picture and really easy for you to do, and I really appreciate you subscribing, and I'll take a look at some of our other tutorials because I think you'll find that once you've done something like this, which you've hopefully progressed and found it's really easy to do, you'll go on to do some more advanced thing. So that's Mark Serrell with Paint with Mark signing off, and I'll see you soon, guys.